Hey guys, welcome back. So today is going to be a chit chat, life update, real talk, get ready with me. It's not really about the makeup today, so if you are here for makeup and only makeup and that's why you like to watch YouTube videos on makeup, then maybe this isn't the one for you, but this is for my subscribers who want to know what's going on in my life. So I'm filming this mid-late August, and I have some news for you guys that most of you, I don't think any of you know. Basically, I have been diagnosed with something, and I was in the hospital for a few days this last month, and life has changed. So let me just stop beating around the bush. I'll tell you one thing that changed was I was sort of laid off my job, but that actually, they gave me 14 days and said, okay, in 14 days you're going to be laid off. Here's this severance package we're going to give you, blah, 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 blah. We just don't have the funds to keep you guys on, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Well, on day 10 of the 14 days in notice they gave us, they decided they found a spot to keep us, a way to keep us on the payroll. So my whole department got to keep their job. So that was kind of crazy. But at the same time, and I'm purposely being vague, I don't mention my company's name, I never have on my channel. I just do IT work, but now I'm going to be working from home full time. A new boss, new role. So I'm not going to the office anymore. But anyway, that was the Bobbi Brown corrector in peach. So that was one heavy blow that we had this last month, and one of the reasons was we need health insurance. I was in the hospital, and we got a bill for the 3-day stay that I was in there. And it wasn't like our portion, but it was $67,000 was like, if we hadn't had insurance, that's what it would have cost. And I was like, holy cow. Luckily, we do have insurance, and that's because I kept my job. But I just did a foundation concoction of my Urban Decay All-Nighter in 4.0, the L'Oreal Infallible in 103 Natural Buff, and the IT Cosmetics CC Plus Illumination in medium. So I'm just going to be blending that in. Basically, it started at the end of July when I noticed my vision had gotten pretty bad. Like one eye in particular was just like all of a sudden really blurry. And I thought, okay, well, I've heard that people's vision can be affected like by hormones, and like when you have a baby, your vision can change and you might need new glasses. And I do wear glasses for reading, like when I'm working, but my vision has never been bad enough where I needed to wear my glasses. Like I use my phone. Basically, I only wear my glasses when I'm working all day, but I don't bring them downstairs after work. I don't read my phone using my glasses. I can see just fine. Well, it's like my left eye suddenly, it was so blurry, almost like I rubbed it, like it felt like there was a film over my eye. Like it was just really blurry. Got worse and worse. I went to the eye doctor. Like it was on a Friday afternoon that I discovered it, so I called them Monday morning. And they're like, okay, we can get you in on Wednesday. I'm like, okay. So I go in on Wednesday, and they're like, you have a blind spot. Like every time they did this field vision test where you stare straight ahead at a cross like this, and then they flash lights all around it, and you're supposed to push this little button in your hand every time you see a flash. And they come at different intervals and different places and different intensities. Some are really bright, some are really subtle, and then they see how many of them you catch, you know? So they did the right eye first, and I passed like 100%. I saw every single light I was supposed to see. And then they did the left eye, and I missed almost every single one. That, like, on the left arm of the cross was completely missing. Like, the left part of the T was missing. And I knew something was going on, and because I was, like, going 10 seconds at a time without seeing a flash, and I was like, I already did the right eye, so I knew what kind of intervals they should usually come, like, every second or two, so I was like, wow, I know I'm failing this. Eye doctor's like, have you changed any medication? And I said, well, I just had a baby, and da-da-da-da, and I did just start taking birth control again, and he was like, huh. He's like, I think you had a mini stroke because you've lost vision, and someone your age, that doesn't just happen, you know, all of a sudden. He's like, doesn't matter whether I add or subtract or make it bigger, make it smaller. He's like, you just can't see anything in that area. And I'm like, oh my God, okay. So he's like, call your OBGYN right away and get in, because I think you had a mini stroke and you need to get off that birth control right away. And this is the Urban Decay Naked Skin in Light Neutral Concealer, and the Bobbi Brown Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place in Medium, mixing the two concealers. And so I went into OBGYN. They're like, you're on the mini pill because I'm nursing. She's like, I don't think that it was a stroke. So she's like, you need to go and do a neurologist. So luckily, I had gone to a neurologist last year, so I was an existing patient because I had had migraines during pregnancy, really bad. So they got me in the next morning. So we're now on Friday, August 4th. I went to the neurologist, and so she gives me like a neurology test where they like follow my finger with your eyes, press up against me, test your reflexes, let me see how your, squeeze, push, tension, grin your teeth, like walk with one foot in front of the other. They all kinds of tests that they test your brain to see if you can follow this finger but don't only with your eyes, stuff like that. And I thought I did okay on that, and she's like, she's like, is the only thing anybody's told you is that they think it could have been a mini stroke? I said, yeah. She's like, okay, I'll be right back. So she came back in the room. I don't know what she went and did, but she basically confirmed that she thought I had multiple sclerosis. And I was like, what? She's like, I need you right now to go home, pack a bag, and meet me at the hospital. We're going to admit you. We're going to keep you there a few days. I'm going to do a lot of tests on you, a lot of MRIs. She says, if you go in person and you get inpatient care, we'll get those MRIs done this weekend. It was a Friday. And she's like, if you go home and you wait, it could be a week or two before they can get you into the MRI. But if you go right now, I'm on the hospital this weekend. It's my weekend of work. So I'll be your doctor and we can take care of this right away, get the test done that we need to do. That was the Maybelline Fit Me Powder, Matte and Poreless in Natural Buff. And now I'm using the IT Cosmetics Celebration Foundation Illumination in Light just under my eyes because it's a little brightening. So I went over to the hospital after we packed a bag, took off from work, half day, and they got me in right away. I was in the hospital for about 48 hours, 2 nights, 3 days, and they were like, okay, we're going to do an MRI. So I was in the MRI tube for about 2 hours. They drew like seriously 20 or 30 tubes of blood for like every test you can ever imagine. All of my other blood work and stuff was fine. I didn't feel sick. I didn't feel like anything was wrong with me. It's just my left eye, my vision. I felt fine, guys. Like I wasn't tired. I wasn't fatigued. I didn't have any tingling or numbness. So the doctor starts asking me a million questions about my health history because I've had a lot of weird stuff going on with my health these last few years. If you remember my cardiology stint where I got really lightheaded all the time. This is the NYX Micro Brow Pencil in Taupe. Where I got lightheaded all the time, and I got, I was also getting tingles where I would tilt my head down, like look at my feet, and then I would get tingles in my like crotch and my legs all of a sudden out of nowhere. That was last summer, 2016, like June. And then it just went away, and I wasn't in pain or anything, and the cardiologist made me wear a Holter monitor for an entire month, and he said my heart was fine, there was nothing wrong with it, my blood pressure normalized, everything was fine, I wasn't on medication. He said, you can come back for a 1-year follow-up, but as far as I'm concerned, your heart is fine. Like, you don't need to keep coming here. I feel like there's like a hair on my nose. It's really itchy. And so I never went back to the cardiologist. I was fine. Well, the neurologist did all these tests when I was at the hospital, and I was only in the observation unit where you don't even have a shower or anything. I wasn't hooked up to an IV. I didn't have meds. I wasn't getting medicine. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't in the hospital like you would think of. I wasn't sick. They were just like monitoring my vitals like once or twice a shift. And I always was fine. No fever or nothing like that. So anyway, I felt fine. It seemed silly, but my husband's mom and my mom took the baby, and I had to get an IV once a day. So 3 times, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at about 2 p.m. They gave me Solumedrol, I think it's called. It's like an IV steroid, high dose. So I had to pump and dump my milk. Luckily, I had enough milk saved up for the baby at home for her to still have exclusively, breast milk and everything while I was in the hospital. And our moms helped out a lot. We couldn't have done that without them. And we were in there for a few days, and it was awful. This is the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Palette. I'm just going to use kind of a mixture of the 3 and powder around and use the lightest one on my top of my cheekbones. So I wasn't sure how much of this I wanted to share with you until I had the diagnosis. Like what they kept saying was, we think you have MS. Like you have all the signs that point to MS. but we think you have MS. Like, they still couldn't give me a solid diagnosis. They were waiting on some more tests to come back, so I had a lumbar puncture, and all of this, keep in mind, I wasn't in pain or anything. Like, I felt fine, but, you know, the doctor says you need a lumbar puncture, you get a lumbar puncture. This is the Estee Edit Barris Bronzer in light medium. Just contouring a little bit with this. And so I basically just did what they said. I went home from the hospital. I felt fine. They said it's going to be a couple weeks till we have some news about the results and everything. But I went ahead and got a second opinion. I went to the Mayo Clinic, and instead of just like a small little neurology practice in town, drove 45 minutes to like the authority, the guru, the renowned people that study this in our area, you know, the really good people who have done a lot of research in the field and have developed new treatments and stuff. So I went, and he agreed. I went to them on August 17th. So, I mean, I was waiting for a diagnosis, but nobody could tell me for sure if that's what I had. So, so I finally went to him, and he confirmed the same. The Bobbi Brown Illuminating Bronzer Powder in Antigua. It's a blush. And he said, yep, I'm pretty sure it's MS also, but I'm going to test you for these other things. Could be another demyelinating disease. Demyelinating is basically meaning your nerves have this myelin coating, like think about a cable that has like coating all over it. And your nerves have that, and mine has like frayed, sort of. So like the coating around my nerves has come off basically in some spots down my body. And what was interesting about my case was he said normally MS patients have it where their brain has a lot of lesions on it, but their spine is clean, and then as they progress through the disease, they have a lot more lesions on their spine over time. Me, my brain scan came up completely clean, but my spine had 3 lesions in it. And there was C1, C2, C4, C5, and T11, T12 were like the 3 lesions down my spine on the MRI. And also I had one behind my left eye, and that one was inflamed. It lit up with contrast, like big time. So they knew that it was for sure like actively bugging me, which is why my vision was impaired at that moment. Sorry, reaching for more makeup here. I'm using the MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre, prime my eyes. So he basically said, you know, we have some choices in treatment. There are 15 DMTs, or disease modifying therapies, that we can put you on. You're a candidate for all of them. It's basically just like how aggressive we want to be, and there's a lot of entry level type of medicine that we can try first before we go hardcore, and that they don't normally do a combination of therapies. They usually just do one and then try it and then change if needed. And so my first thought is like, oh my gosh, you know, I have this disease. Oh my gosh, like I have never known anyone in my life that has it. I don't have any experience with it. I don't know, is this a death sentence? What's my prognosis? Like, I really didn't know anything about it. So when someone tells you you have MS, you're like, oh my gosh. This is a Makeup Geek's Peach Smoothie on a Sigma E35 taper blending brush. It's my transition. Sweeping that back and forth. So I just like freaked out. So I start Googling, and you're waiting for the diagnosis. Remember, this is like 2 weeks after I went to the hospital. And I still don't have like anybody who said, you have MS. You know, he said it could be NMO, neuromyelitis optica, it could be optical neuritis, which I definitely have optica neuritis behind my left eye. Anyway, he said it could be this thing. We have these other tests that we can try. Perinatal plastic, I don't know, whatever. So autoimmune disease, he's looking into all these things, but basically it is multiple sclerosis. So he thinks I've had it for a few years already, actually, because the tingling that I've had before when I tilted my hands down, possibly even, remember my hands and my wrists were really tingling during pregnancy in my 3rd trimester. I was going to physical therapy for it. It could have just been carpal tunnel, could have been due to swelling, or it could have been a flare-up due to MS. So my mind is blown. I know that I'm talking a mile a minute and you guys are like, oh, she's so fine. But I mean, I've definitely cried a lot. One of the hardest things about this whole process, about the news and everything, like the hardest part for me right now is that none of the treatments are compatible with breastfeeding. And so I have to make a choice. This is the Wet n Wild Color Icon eyeshadow in Brulee, just like an off-white color. I have to make a choice. I need to stop nursing the baby if I want to do the treatment. And I asked Like, do I need this treatment right now? Like, can I wait 3 months? Like, can I wait till she's 6 months old? Can I? And so basically, I started supplementing when Daisy turned 11 weeks old. I didn't want to. I make plenty of milk. I enjoy breastfeeding. I actually could have even probably had an oversupply. And so it was really hard for me to just be like, I'm going to give up breastfeeding. So I didn't. I'm still, Daisy's now like 13 weeks old. I'm still breastfeeding. I'm still pumping because we were still waiting for a diagnosis. I wasn't going to stop if they told me, you know. So we're still kind of talking about how I'm going to handle this because the doctor even said, like, I don't need to start the treatment right away. I can, and I probably should, but it's up to me. It's my choice. And my husband and I have, you know, had to really talk about this because it's a hard decision. Like, I want my baby to have the best chance at being healthy, and if that means she needs my antibodies, and breastfeeding has been really important to me, and I love it. I have an emotional bond with this child, and this is Makeup Geek's creme brulee. She's running that through the crease. So it just has been really emotional for me because, like, let's talk about the prognosis too. Obviously, breastfeeding is sad, but that's like a temporary thing. I wasn't going to breastfeed her forever. It's also, what am I going to do for my next baby? You know, I'm going to have to get on whatever treatment it is right after. I guess the most dangerous period of having MS is right in the postpartum period. It's when a lot of people experience the worst flare-ups. This is Makeup Geek's In the Spotlight. It's like a really pretty foiled peachy nude. And so, yeah, that's hard. But anyway, he didn't say, the doctor doesn't think it will shorten my life. It might make me have flare-up periods. I might go 12 to 14 months in between flare-ups. I could go 5 years between flare-ups. He does think it's the remitting, relapsing, where it goes away. You have it, you don't have it. You have it, you don't have it. I mean, it's never gone. The lesions are not going to go away on my spine. But they can kind of, I don't want to say make them go away, but like you will have periods where you don't have any symptoms. And that, you know, that's something that, you know, you'll feel normal. And I have no restrictions on my driving. My vision has started coming back. I can exercise. I don't have to have a special diet or anything like that. He doesn't think my life is going to be shortened. I might need assistance walking. I might have periods where I have extreme fatigue. I might be on disability later in life if I can't, you know, walk and drive, and my vision could get way worse. I could have tingling and numbness and lose mobility. You can have spastic moments. You can have incontinence. You can have lots of stuff. So that was the Gerard Cosmetics or Whitening Lightning Color Your Smile Lighted Lip Gloss in the shade Jewel. I'm going to be wearing burgundy today, so that's why I chose that. It's just a glossy gloss. I don't really rep this brand or anything. I've had this for years. Actually, it's kind of tasting a little weird. Probably shouldn't be wearing it. It's probably expired, but I think I got that right at the beginning of my YouTube thing, so like 3 years ago. Yeah, it's expired. Okay, so let's see what I want to do with my eyes. Anyway, so this is the Makeup Geek brush, the defined crease brush. I'm going to be using Makeup Geek's Burlesque. It's a burgundy. The outer V. So I've just kind of been holding this news to myself because I didn't want to scare anybody, you know, if it wasn't MS or if it was something else like MS. I wanted to know all the facts, but it sounds like it's MS. So if you guys know anyone that has it, you know that there are going to be times, you're going to know people that have MS that have perfectly normal lives. They hold down a job, they're just fine. And then there are other people that have MS that have a hard life. They can't work, they can, you know, they drink themselves silly because that's the only thing that numbs things, or it can cause all kinds of things. It can cause sexual dysfunction, it can cause like just weird firing signals in your body, like you spaz out and they can be embarrassing. Not like Parkinson's, but you know, something like that. So, I mean, I'm new to this, guys. I had never, I mean, I'd heard of MS. I'd seen them do like walks, like 5Ks or 10Ks and like for the issue, and I probably even donated to the cause before, but I had never, you know, known anyone myself. But my husband had an aunt who had MS in his childhood, and she's passed away. I don't think it was from that, but so he was familiar with it when they gave me the diagnosis. I mean, we cried together and everything, but I'm trying really hard to just remember that it's not a death sentence. It's going to change my life. It's going to be hard. It's not going to make anything easier or better, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to, you know, have a miserable life and I'm just trying to be happy. But I asked about having more children and about genetics. If it is genetic, they said that my daughter does have a higher chance of getting it, but it's not like barely higher than the average person, and that, you know, we wouldn't test her until she's in her 20s or 30s, and that's if she had any kind of symptoms. So it's not anything I need to worry about for her. And yes, I can have more children. The only thing is that none of the treatments are safe during pregnancy or during while you're trying to conceive, because you don't want to be on them. They're category X for pregnancy, meaning like it will kill the baby. So many women say that the pregnancy period is their best period if that they have MS. Like they have no flare-ups during the whole pregnancy. It's like your body's protecting the baby. So that could be really nice. I'm just touching up the lid shade. But it's also scary because right after you have the baby, you want to get on something right away, which means my second child may not need to be able to be breastfed, and that's sad. You guys know that that's something that I really prided myself on it. So she gets, so for the last 2 weeks, she's gotten a bottle of formula mid-morning because I had to take prednisone for like 16 days, and I had to not feed her for 4 hours while I was on that. So mid-morning, she would get a bottle of formula. We're doing Enfamil Gentle Ease. That's what our pediatrician recommended, and she seems to be tolerating it just fine. But mid-morning, because I wasn't able to use my breast milk at that time. And then I'm also trying to purposely like produce less and less breast milk because I don't want to be engorged if I have to stop nursing here. And then she gets a bottle before bed of formula because I want her to be nice and full so she'll sleep well. And then usually my mother-in-law, when she has her during the day, she'll give her 1 bottle of formula during the day, but she's still getting my breast milk like 75% of the time, or at least 50 to 75% of the time she's getting my breast milk. So it's not like I gave up. I didn't give up, and I'm not going to give up unless I have to. And the doctor seemed to think that it's my choice if I want to start the treatment right away or not. Like, it's basically, the medicine can be for slowing the overall progression of the disease. It's immunosuppressants, so it's going to make me more susceptible to getting sick, which is good now that I'm working from home. I won't be around as many people, but that's something. And then also they have some that are triggered, like steroids, that are going to help with the actual flare-ups. So like I said, right now the only flare-up is my vision, and my vision is getting better day by day. He said after about 2 months it'll be the best it's going to be. So it may never be back to normal, but it's not terrible. I'm still okay to drive. When I use both eyes, I can see perfectly fine. That blind spot has gone away. It's just a little blurry in that eye. But anyway, so I'm trying to just remember, like, I'm lucky that we found it early. Like, it hasn't impacted my life. I've probably had it for 2 years already, or a year, and that I didn't do anything wrong, and that giving my child formula because I have to, because of my health, if that's what she needs, then that's what we're going to do. And I'm trying not to beat myself up about it, but I have cried so much. I could cry about it right now, but I'm doing liquid eyeliner, probably not a good idea. And then you have to tell people, and I was job applying, you know, because for 10 days I thought I didn't have a job, and so there are things on the, like, websites, like, are you disabled? Do you have any of these diseases? And you can say, I just decide I don't want to tell you. And officially I hadn't been diagnosed yet, so I didn't disclose it to any of the places I applied for, but it definitely makes you think, oh my gosh, like, there's a list of 10 conditions that they say, do you have any of these? And I have one of the things on that list. I've never had something on that list before. Also, the medicine for this disease is very expensive, can be like thousands of dollars, and we don't even know which medicine I'm going to be on yet because we're still waiting for like the final call from the doctor, but whatever it is going to be very expensive. That was the Kat Von D Ink Liner in Trooper, and this is the Essence Lash Princess False Lash Effect Mascara. So that is my major news. Do I think that this is going to impact my YouTube channel? I hope not. I mean, it might eventually if I can't use my hands or if I can't, looking in my mirror. You know, something like that. Like, that might definitely impact things. But it's also something that I enjoy, and so I would hope to be able to continue doing this. I did notice that when I was having my vision, like the worst it had gotten, right when I had the blind spot, when I would close my right eye to, so I had to use my left eye to apply liner to my right eye. My left eye I had a blind spot. Like I was not able to do winged liner. I was not able to do as precise of makeup stuff. So I kind of slacked on my filming there for a few weeks. And I'm not a bit, it is what it is. I wasn't going to pretend that everything was okay when it wasn't. So I didn't film. Like a lot of the stuff you guys have seen was filmed in June and July. But I'm getting back into it. I took like 2 or 3 weeks off there. I was really depressed and sad, but I've decided now that the doctors seem to think like I'm at the end of this flare-up, that my vision is coming back. Like I finished the steroid treatment. I no longer have to pump and dump. Like I can still nurse my baby. And I now call the shots. Like, do I want to start the treatment and which treatment? I can do injectables 3 times a week, or I can do oral medication every day. There are going to be side effects, and some are triggered more towards, helping the long-term progression of the disease slow, and some are more for, managing the symptoms that I have currently, but if I don't have any symptoms because the flare-up's over. Anyway, so long story short, I'm still kind of up in the air about the treatment, but the biggest thing for me is I want the treatment, I want to get better, but some of the treatments you have to take for 4 to 6 months before they even start making a difference. You need them in your system, they kind of build up over time. And so I kind of want to take them. But then if we're planning on having a baby next year and I'm still nursing right now and I'm like, not planning on having a baby next year. Let me rephrase that. Planning on stopping treatment next year so that we can start trying to have a baby next year. So we want our kids about 2 years apart. But it's like, should I even get on this treatment then if I'm not having any symptoms? And what's a few more months? Like, should I wait till Daisy's 6 months old so that the breastfeeding, the benefits of it are kind of lesser and less and less as she gets older. Like she doesn't need my immunity, my antibodies as much anymore, and she's had a few more rounds of shots, and is that going to make it hurt less to have to stop that bond that I have with her about breastfeeding? I don't know. I guess I would ask if you guys want to provide your opinion. If you feel strongly about breastfeeding, if that's something that you did a lot and you were really, I would say, hardcore breastfeeder. This is the Urban Decay All-Nighter Makeup Setting Spray. Let me know if you would take the treatment for yourself, or would you wait a little bit? If you're not currently in any pain and you've likely already had the disease for a couple years, and would you personally fight to keep breastfeeding until the baby was 6 months old? Or would you say, no, I want to get this treatment in right away? And so that if I do have another flare-up before I get pregnant again, I'm on the medicine. I don't know. I'm not saying postponing taking the medicine forever. I'm thinking of postponing it until she's 6 months old, which would be instead of starting it at the beginning of September, I would start it at the end of November. I'm not talking about postponing until she's 18 months, because my original plan was to breastfeed until I got pregnant with my next kid. I wasn't planning on stopping. So now that I have to at some point. Anyway, I'm curious to know what you guys would do, what you think, how you would proceed. I'm not saying I'm going to stop or I'm not going to stop at this point. I'm just still learning and researching, and the doctor didn't seem to think it was important either way. He wants me to start the treatment, but he understands, and a lot of women do wait. So let me know what you guys would do. I appreciate the kind words. I'm not telling you this because I want you to pity me or anything like that. I just want to share my life with you guys. And if you have any positive stories about people with MS, or if you have MS, or if you've known anyone, you want to share their stories or your stories, please feel free to do so in the comments. I will be doing more videos on this topic, especially as symptoms arise and things. But I thought that I would start with this and see if there was any interest in those kinds of videos. If you guys wouldn't watch them, or if you would, if you find it interesting, if you find it morbid or sad or brings you down. I don't want to be a downer either. So if you're here just for the makeup, I can do that. But I'm not doing planner videos anymore. I will be doing the occasional mommy video, but mostly makeup. So if you guys want to see more about my health or my life, you want me to vlog about my experiences, let me know. That is it for now. Thanks for understanding. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.